But anyway, Geonosis with Count Dooku and everything. And I thought that was pretty legit. And how Dooku was trying to convince Obi-Wan to like come to his side and explain to him how Qui-Gon was his Padawan and all that cool stuff. I thought that was pretty legit. Now, the cons are, you know, the romance story that was pretty weak. And that's that. It was just weak, and the dialogue was kind of really cheesy and everything, and, you know, it was what it was. At least the only good that came out of it was when he goes back to Tatooine. You can tell he kind of has that angstiness. He, like, meets up with Watto, and he's like, you know, oh. So you'd think he'd do more, like, be like, yo, man, you know, I'm going to stab you with my lightsaber, but, you know, he doesn't. He just is like, where's my mom? But anyway, the whole Sand People thing was, you know, pretty hardcore. Like, he goes in and murks them all. I'm like, yo, you can't really blame him. Like, he watched his mom get killed, and who knows what happened, but that's pretty awesome. And, you know, he complains and whines afterwards like a wuss, but, you know, it's pretty intense. Like, he just murdered a whole village of people, so it's pretty ridiculous. So, it definitely is believable with him going to the dark side. So, at least, you know, it showed that. So then anyway, it all culminates with the Battle of Geonosis and with Dooku and all the droids, and there's the thing with, you know, the animals and the creatures they fight and everything. And so I saw this interesting thing because it had Anakin in the middle, so it was kind of like this weird symbolism of like he had to choose between like love and Padme and like Obi-Wan and the Jedi Order, so it's interesting. And there was another thing how like Anakin took the green lightsaber while Obi-Wan took the blue when the rest of the Jedi show up. That was interesting. But anyway, it all comes down to that where the Jedi show up, Mace Windu, and there's the awesome fight with Mace Windu and Jango Fett and all that stuff, and all the other Jedi are there, and a lot of the Jedi that you get to know more in like the Clone Wars series, they're there, and the battle happens. You have Anakin and Obi-Wan going to face Dooku. They get defeated, and then Yoda shows up. You know, that's going to be a 50-50 right there. Some people think it's corny and cheesy, and then other people love the scene where Yoda shows up and fights him with his like little lightsaber and stuff. I'm on the fence there. But I kind of like it. But I know it's cheesy, but it was kind of cool. Like, I don't know. People talk about it, though. That's the big thing. And people like Yoda because they got to see, like, kind of how powerful he was. So I think Yoda has become much more of a... There's been an impact on pop culture because of that scene with Yoda, okay? Whether you think it's dumb or not, there has been an impact. And like Yoda merchandise and like all that stuff, there's no doubt about that. So there you go. There's those movies. They tie at number 6. Jumping into the next one, number 5, I have Rogue One. What I love about Rogue One is that it's a war film. You get to see the grunts instead of like Jedi or higher ups. Like you see some of them, but it's definitely has more of the grunts. The reality of war. I really like it where they show like Cassian killing the dude. Like that's gonna snitch. Like he just murk the piss out of him. So it's like, you know, hey, they're not playing games. The rebels don't play games. And you had that with like Saw Gerrera. I thought that was really cool. There wasn't much they worked with there, but there was a little bit there. But what I really like also is Galen Erso. He didn't want to work for the Empire, but he was forced to because of like his circumstances. So I really liked how they showed that. They're just like, hey man, like you're gonna work for us. And they get to have that whole shtick with him putting the defaults in the Death Star and all that stuff. It was solidly written. They took that little battle sequence, and when it comes to Disney, so with The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, at least Rogue One showed that Disney, with Disney being the owners or whatever, at least whoever, they were capable of creating some a decent film with that, with some solid writing. The Easter eggs were awesome in that film. You had all kinds of stuff they referenced. They used footage from like A New Hope, extra footage with like the Battle of Scarif and everything. You had like the Ghost in there, so referencing Rebels and everything. And just to point out, that's also what made me like the Attack of the Clones and later on the Revenge of the Sith. The Clone Wars series, I thought it really got to dive into the characters, had a lot more of the battles, and kind of showed the grand scope of things. And then, of course, you got to see a lot more of the worlds and stuff. So a lot of props. I tip my hat to Dave Filoni and the crew that did the Clone Wars series, and also the Rebels. So Rebels I don't like quite as much as the Clone Wars, because I think they kind of mix and match stuff. Like they'll be like, oh well, season 3 strictly focuses on like Thrawn as the villain, but it's just like, well, the second one had like Vader and like the Inquisitors. Well, where are the Inquisitors? Like, didn't they get more? Like, I don't understand how they kind of like drop and pick and choose for each thing, and I don't know, but still, it's still really entertaining, and you get a lot from it. You get a lot of information, so I'm pretty confident the last half of this final season of Rebels will have a lot of cool stuff leading up to Rogue One. So Rogue One was fantastic. The Vader scenes were real cool. Of course, you have the Vader scene at the end. Everybody talks about that. It's pretty awesome. People were waiting for that. It's kind of hilarious. It's like Disney and like all those folks. Why aren't y'all taking a hint? If people go nuts over the Vader scene in Rogue One, how are you not going to make like a Vader film and go ahead and make it rated R? All right? People are going to eat that up. So you heard it here from Jay. All right? Disney, you want to make money? Do a Vader film and maybe make it rated R. People will love it. So anyway, the only issue I had, I know some people didn't like Rogue One because the people died and everything, but that's the story. That's the timeline. I really tip my hat to them. That was good. It showed the realities of war. I remember I read some comment. They're like, oh, like, you know, I took my 4-year-old daughter to see Rogue One and her favorite characters all died and stuff. I'm like, bro, it's a PG-13 movie. Don't take your children to see it, okay? PG-13. It's not going to be for everyone, all right? Primarily adults enjoy Star Wars. Yeah, kids like it, and like some kids like it and stuff. That's cool. But adults love Star Wars. So this was an adult movie, all right? It wasn't for kids. PG-13. You know, watch it first. See it first before you show your kids or whatever, all right? My only issue with Rogue One was Vader seeing Leia's ship at the end. That was literally it. That wasn't congruent with A New Hope, with the dialogue, because Vader would have just said, yo, I saw your ship. Okay, but that's my main con with that film. Other than that, I really enjoyed Rogue One. Admiral Raddus is a boss. I'm glad they used another Mon Calamari for like an admiral, and I thought the military tactics with that and them doing their jump attack, that jumping in there, the rebels trying to do something about it, and then the battle on the ground, really like that. It was really awesome. So overall, great film, and that's number 5. So number 4, I'm going to check and see how much time I got while sipping my Darth Vader cup. It looks like I'm running out of time, so I'm going to jump on to, what is it, number 4? I'm going to jump onto that next.